So the big question is this: how do you lose all the weight that you want and actually keep it off for the rest of your life, while trying to make sense of all the noise that comes from the weight loss industry? That is the question. And this podcast will give you the answers.
G'day guys, and welcome to the next episode of the Weight Loss Secrets podcast. My name's Baron Grant and I'm wrapped to be with you again to talk tips, tricks, ideas and things that you can do to lose all the weight you want and keep it off for the rest of your life. As always, before I go any further, head to ditchingthediet.com if you want to get your hands on my new book or get involved in one of my programs, or just book a call with me and see if I can help you on your journey. Top right hand corner of ditchingthediet.com, and you can book a call directly with me and we'll go through where you're at and what changes you need to make to be able to lose all the weight you want and keep it off. With that said, today I'm going to talk about counting calories. So this is a favorite of lots of people, and it has its place. Counting calories is a way to control your eating. However, it is not a good way to sustainably make change so you live healthy for the rest of your life. Because really, when we're counting calories, it's a short-term focus, right? It's for the next 6 weeks, for the next 8 weeks, for the next 12 weeks, whatever the number is, you're going to count calories to get to where you want to be, and maybe you lose some weight on that journey, maybe you don't, depending on how you do it. So counting calories, it's just not sustainable. I'm going to give you 5 reasons for why counting calories is no good and why you should absolutely stop doing it if you want to make long-term sustainable change. Because remember, if you want to lose weight and keep it off, there's no miracle for that. What there is consistency, and then once that weight is off, you've got to be able to live with that same new lifestyle and habits that you've created. And I don't believe that doing it via counting calories is the way to go. So number one is it will drive you completely insane, right? That's my point number one. So just think about it for a second. For those that haven't counted calories and you're thinking about it, it sort of looks like this. You put something in your mouth and then you've got to enter it into an app on a phone, because we don't write things out so much anymore. So you'll probably have MyFitnessPal or Calorie King or something like that to monitor how many calories are in every food. So it's not just, hey, I know what the calories are, because you don't. First, you've got to work out how many calories are in all the foods that you're eating. Then you've got to enter those calories. And if you want to get really proper about it, you've got to weigh and measure everything to make sure that you know how much is in it. Because, you know, 1 almond, or, you know, 10 almonds is 100 calories. Well, if you have 47 almonds, well, you've got to work out how many calories that is. So you've got to do a lot of math, and it will drive you completely around the bend. You think about how many times throughout the day you put something in your mouth. By the end of the day, you might have had to pick up your phone 15 times to enter all of the different things that you've eaten in that day. So extremely frustrating. So that's number one. It will just drive you insane. You'll get to a point where you want to pick up your phone and throw it against the wall. And I know that people that are watching this or listening to this right now who have counted calories know exactly what I'm talking about. And so you might just want to chuck your phone away and never look at it again. And so that whole lifestyle change becomes a 10-minute change, and, you know, a short amount of time is what I'm trying to say. You might be 3 days into it and you're like, I've had a gut full of this. I'm done. So counting calories, number one, will drive you insane. Number two, it's not sustainable. I mentioned just before, I believe that if you want to keep it off, and not I believe, the fact is, if you want to keep it off, it has to be a sustainable change. You have to eat the way you're going to eat for the rest of your life. Now, you might not eat absolutely perfectly for the rest of your life, and you might have some chocolate occasionally, and you might have some chips occasionally, you might have a drink occasionally. That's all cool, but it's not sustainable to be counting calories ongoing. So having something that's going to be a plan where you don't have to count calories or weigh or measure everything and don't feel like, you know, it's crazy restricted all the time, it's just not a way to live, right? So number two is it's just not sustainable. And that's probably one of the biggest ones, if I'm really honest. You're not going to want to count calories for the rest of your life. You've got to begin as you want to finish. Whatever you choose to do has to be sustainable for the rest of your life. And typing things into a phone, I don't think that's super sustainable for the rest of your life. All right, so number three, we don't lose weight purely on numbers. This is a fallacy. Calories in, calories out absolutely works and is real. But there's more to it than that. Not all calories are created equal. We can't just take take the number of calories that we're consuming and think if we cut it to this, we're going to lose weight, because it's not true. Remember, the vast majority of the reason why people are overweight is not only because they have eaten too many calories, because they've eaten far too much carbohydrates and sugar, right? So carbs and sugar provide our body, or comes into our body, when we eat carbs and sugar, it ends up becoming glucose in our body. And when we have extra glucose, that's what turns into fat really quickly. So when people say to you, you shouldn't cut carbohydrates down to lose weight, those people are crazy cakes, because you have to reduce carbohydrate intake. We are overweight in this world because of sugar. Sugar is the number one criminal when it comes to weight gain, and carbohydrates turn to sugar in our bodies, right? So when people say you shouldn't cut carbs, it's just a fad thing that they want to get more clicks and stuff on their video because it sounds nice. Nobody really wants to stop eating bread. So they'll tell you that, but you have to reduce your carbs and sugar as well. So this is the problem with counting calories, is if you don't do it with that balance of getting your carbs and sugar down as well, it's actually kind of pointless. Because even if you reduce your calories down, if you're still eating a good proportion of the calories that you're eating in a day are carbohydrates and sugar, you're still going to gain more fat, because that stuff stores as fat really quickly in our bodies. So that's another reason why counting calories doesn't really work unless you are counting all your macros and doing everything. So that's not going to work, because weight loss doesn't come just from an arbitrary number. Because if you're like, I'm going to eat 1,200 calories, is what everybody says. 1,200 calories is the magic number, but it's not really. But let's say you're eating 1,200 calories. If you eat, let's say 900 calories throughout the day, and then you eat another 300 calories in a chocolate bar at the end of the day because you're like, oh, I haven't eaten all my calories. How good, I can eat a chocolate bar. No, it doesn't work like that, because that chocolate bar will store as fat much faster than a piece of chicken. So that's why we can't just count calories. There's other elements at play. Getting the right food in is really as important as the number of calories that we're consuming every day. All right, number 4 is you'll feel restricted. So think about this. I want you to picture yourself, if you're going down the path of counting calories, I want you to picture yourself going, oh man, I'm going out with my friends, we're going out to dinner, and oh, hang on one second, I don't know about that one. Do my little calculation into my computer, into my phone, my calculator to work it out. Oh, I can have 27 grams of that, and I can have 15 grams of that, and I can have 40 grams of that. That keeps me under my calorie limit. I don't reckon that's a great way to live. For me, I want to eat big amounts of food. So I don't want to feel crazy restricted on the amount of food that I eat. If I want to eat a big meal, you got to eat the right stuff still. You can't just randomly eat anything you want. But I think counting calories can feel quite restrictive. So I'd encourage another reason why I wouldn't be counting calories. So number 5, it really doesn't encourage healthy eating habits. And you can see this with points programs as well. And what it is like you've got this set number of points, you've got this set number of calories, you've got this set number that you've got to hit or can hit every day. You've got to get below that. But what it does is it doesn't teach you the right foods to eat. Like I mentioned before about the chocolate bar. If you go throughout your whole day and you're eating really well, and then you're like, oh man, I got calories left, brother. I can eat a donut. I'm going to head straight to Krispy Kremes. Eat me a 150 calorie donut. I don't know how much they are, but you go and just eat a donut, and you defeat the purpose, because the carbs and sugar turn to fat really quickly. So it doesn't teach good eating. And then one of the biggest problems with every program that I see, and every drug that I see, and every pill that I see, it doesn't teach the correct eating. And the correct eating is the only thing that is going to make the weight stay off. Remember, healthy people are not healthy by chance. Healthy people make good decisions about their food day in, day out. Healthy people have chocolate sometimes, but they're having a little bit of chocolate, not a lot, and not often, and not very much at all. So they have a little bit here and there, and it's fine. But if you want to feel like a healthy person, if you want to look like a healthy person, then you've got to eat like a healthy person. And so it's got to be sustainable. It's got to be something that you can do now and forever. So my 5 points. Stop counting calories, because it will drive you completely insane. It is not sustainable. right? We can't lose weight purely based upon the numbers. It's the type of calories we choose to eat as well. Number 4, you'll feel restricted. And number 5, you're not creating healthy habits because you're not creating healthy habits around the right foods to eat. Because when you're just basing it on points, it's not about the food, it's about the number, and the number doesn't always tell the right story. So they're my 5 key points of why you should stop counting calories. Or if you haven't even started counting calories and you're considering it, don't, because it's not sustainable. It's not something that you can do for the rest of your life. You'll end up getting really frustrated and chuck your phone at a wall, and it's going to cost you money because iPhones are really expensive. So don't do it. Don't do it, because it'll cost you $1,500 to get a new phone after you get extremely frustrated by counting calories. It's no way to live. You can eat amazing food every day. You can eat lots of it if you eat the right stuff, and you'll end up being low enough in your calories anyway to be able to lose the weight and keep it off. That's the message for today. Don't count calories, eat lots of good food, and you'll be totally fine. Let's chat tomorrow.